38 players. You can start the season with only 26. And this is where it gets very difficult for managers and general managers and everybody in the front office as you try to get that roster down to the limit. Sometimes it is so close between different guys, maybe for a bullpen spot or an extra catcher or an extra outfielder or whatever. And we mentioned, I think the other day, JD, sometimes you have to just keep running guys out there to see who actually plays the best in these final 10 days of the spring.
Yeah, I think for a manager sometimes, you know, generally you don't see it as an open competition who performs the best in spring training gets the job, but sometimes it does come down to that. You're going to reward the guy who plays the best. A lot of times it's has to do with who has options remaining. It has to do with keeping depth in your organization. If you're a veteran guy like Sogard, say, and if you don't keep him, you're fearful that he becomes a free agent, gets claimed on waivers. And you got a younger kid that you can send out, so you keep both guys in your organization. Sometimes that will drive that decision.
Sogard powered a home run to right his first time. Goes a ground ball sharply to first, glove by Schrock. Underhand feed to Malley, and that's going to be out number 2. Thinking about managers and the way they look at their team, I saw a quote from David Ross, and this says a lot about baseball and the unpredictability of it. I think it was a quote from a couple of days ago. David said, "Offense should be our strength of this year's Cubs team, but I also thought that last year. But it was the pitching that carried us to a division title. You never know. We'll see how this whole thing shakes out." That's pretty much it. Marisnick gets jammed, rolling toward third, charging Holder, running throw, wild throw. Marisnick will race to second, and he's going to be there. It'll probably be a hit and an error, and a broken bat to boot.
So last time he hits a long ball. This time just completely gets his bat shattered. This is one Holder probably should have held on to. With Marisnick going down the line with that plus speed, didn't really have a shot at him. There's that burst, Pat.
Yes, sir.
He's up there. He's 0 to 60 in no time. Good to see him moving that well, too. He had hamstring issues last year with the Mets. Calf strain early in spring training.
Sometimes it's the exact opposite of what you think.
Yeah, that's the little cliche about you don't play them on paper, right?
Yeah. But I like the Cubs offense. It looks like if they just have average years, nothing spectacular. You don't need guys to all have career years. I'm talking about Rizzo getting back to 30 and 95 RBIs. Bryant getting back to 30 and maybe 90 ribbies. Baez possibly close to 30 home runs, 75, 80 RBIs for Javi. Those are very doable numbers.
Yeah, you're not asking guys to do things they have not done in the past, and all these guys are in the primes of their career still. You see the slugging numbers last year versus what they've done in the rest of their Cub career, and all three of those boppers were off the mark last year for one reason or another.
And they still won the division title. 2-2 to Rizzo from Malley. Anthony choking up, as you can see. Takes one in the dust. It bounces away. Marisnick scoots to third. He's got Bodie on deck. In a regular season game, I'd be surprised if Anthony gets anything to hit right here. You?
Yeah, as a pitcher, you hate to concede once you got 2 strikes on a hitter.
Right.
Rizzo's the kind of guy you're always going to be careful with anyway.
Anthony took a called third strike his first time.
He's got room to wander down there. My goodness.
Rizzo takes high for ball 4. Not close. 2 outs, 2 on for David Bodie. What would be your biggest concern? Not to put you on the spot, but biggest concern of the Chicago Cubs team 11 days away from opening day?
Starting pitching. They don't have a lot of swing and miss guys. Dependent on their defense to pick them up. How much does Jake Arrieta have left in the tank? He struggled in his 3 years in Philadelphia. He's looked good this spring, so that's a very positive thing. Trevor Williams has looked good this spring, but he's coming off a year that he had a 6 ERA. Alec Mills, pretty good last year, but still there are some question marks, I guess. And I think they're all capable, and if those questions all get answered positively, they have a chance to be really good.
Bodie drives one in the air, deep left field. If it's fair, it's gone. This ball is going to be a fair ball and a 3-run homer for David Bodie, and the Cubs lead 5-1. He wasn't sure. He thought he had pulled it foul, but it stayed fair, long gone, and the Cubs are playing long ball here in the desert today.
Yeah, 3rd home run for the Cubs this afternoon. 2nd home run on the spring for David Bodie. This ball absolutely demolished. I'm not sure where this ended up on campus. They like to work him up in the zone, but if you don't get it up enough, you're asking for trouble. And he found trouble. Where did that one end up?
I did not see it land.
I didn't either. I'm not sure it did.
Tape measure home run. All of the Cubs runs on homers today. Bodie's 2nd of the spring.
Yeah, and so you get back to that, that's why the Rizzo at bat as a pitcher, yeah, you don't want to give in to Anthony Rizzo, but anytime you put a man on base, obviously, there's a chance he's going to come around and score. Generally, you want to stay in an aggressive frame of mind early in a game. You don't want to set up a potential big inning by being too tentative early in a game. Late in the game, for sure, a run is more likely to beat you late in the game. But a crooked number is what's going to get you early.
3 infielders on the right side as they set up the picket fence. Hayward bounces out to the shortstop Farmer. Bodie's long homer gives the Cubs a lead of 4 as we go to inning number 4.
Lead the Reds. Fans, the Cubs have collaborated with Chicago artist Caitlin Lewis to design a limited edition collection of merchandise to celebrate Women's History Month. This limited edition collection, it's available now. You can get yours and do it before they're gone. Visit Cubs.com/Caitlin Lewis. Good looking stuff.
Alec Mills supported with 3 home runs from his Cub teammates, Sogard, Marisnik, and David Bodie, all with home runs so far today. There's David over at third base. Led the team in RBIs last season with 29. And here's a bouncer into left field off the bat of Tyler Stevenson to start the Reds' 4th inning. All right, if you're starting in a game, JD, and your team has given you a 5-1 lead by the 4th inning, does that change your approach at all?
Doesn't it change your approach? I think it changes your mindset a little bit. I think at this point, if you have a 4-run lead in your mind, you're thinking, this is a win. If we don't win this game, it's my fault. I have to find a way to make sure this doesn't get away.
Cubs beat Cincinnati 6 of the 10 meetings a year ago as Kyle Farmer stands in. Sinking fastball, a little bit low and inside, ball 1.
The challenge for pitchers in the modern game is there's so much power up and down major league lineups. It used to be you could just, certain hitters just throw it in there and let them put their best swing on it and feel pretty good that it's going to stay in the ballpark. Yeah, he tried to fool him with that real slow curveball, and it just settled into the top of the zone, and Farmer was able to wait back on it. Curious to know the velocity on that one.
Maben acted like he wanted to jump. I don't know if he would have had a chance, but sometimes a guy will backpedal, doesn't realize he's as close to the wall as he is, and he never is able to get off his feet.
So hard to track the ball out there in the desert.
So the Cubs lead now is 5-3. Jonathan India takes a pitch in there for a strike, 1-1. Cubs also took 2 out of 3 fleet. September 8, 9, and 10 last season. India lifting a pop fly, so angling over his corner to make a tough catch. It's one of those days I'm not sure any fly ball could be categorized as routine.
No, and this is good work here by Horner, though. It's a much easier play for him than it would have been for Rizzo. Hayward wasn't going to get there in time. So the right guy made the call and ultimately made the catch.
But the Cubs able to win 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati at Wrigley in early September last year. The finale is the game that I remember, J.D. The Cubs were down early. Sonny Gray was pitching. Cubs were down by about 4 runs in the 5th inning or so, and they rallied. Nico Horner had a big bases-loaded double, started the comeback, and the Cubs were able to win a long rain-delayed ball game against Cincinnati.
Rain delay, Cincinnati, never. Every time we go there, it seems.
Tyler Naquin taking upstairs. Naquin flied to center his first time, the 1-1. Herb dribbled past the mound, scooping it up. There's the shortstop Sogard over to first for out number 2.
Third baseman Kyle Holder.
Kyle Holder stepping in. Holder singled and drove in a run his first time. Mills missing down low.
Just a 2 out of 19 this spring prior to that base hit last time he was up there. He's not played above the Double-A level.
We're talking about Sonny Gray and the fact that he's going to miss the first week at least of the regular season with a back issue. So they're without him. Trevor Bauer, their Cy Young Award winner, left as a free agent, and they also traded their closer Raisel Iglesias to the Los Angeles Angels. So a lot of big moves on their pitching staff over the offseason.
And counting on Malley to pitch big innings for them. T.J. Antone, a kid we saw last year a little bit, likely will be in the rotation. Castillo, the opening day guy, is among the best in the business. So they've added Sean Doolittle, hoping that he can provide some late game relief. He has really struggled here this spring. Anthony DeSclafani no longer in a Reds uniform as well. He's a giant.
Free agent. Doolittle, a guy with over 100 big league saves, 111 to be exact. It's been 411 major league games, in fact. Here's the pitch.
So that front door sinker to the inside corner. Matt Holberg would not give him the call.
Sometimes that center field camera angle is a little bit misleading. When it landed in the catcher's glove, it was in the strike zone. But when it crossed the front of home plate, in the opinion of Holberg at least, it was just inside before it broke back. Payoff pitch. Little chopper slowly. Tough place. Short hop. Off balance throw by Horner to get him. Very good play by Nico. And the inning comes to an end. But the whole in half. It's now a 2-run Cubs lead. To gear up, visit the Cubs store at Gallagher Way for your official Cubs merchandise, apparel, and collectibles. Visit us in-store or online at the new ivyshop.com to round out your Cubs wardrobe today.
But a little magic from Nico Horner. Sogard doing a nice job in the middle of the diamond. You see him up on the balls of his feet, ready to react. Good, strong throw on the money to get his man. Boy, he turned a pretty double play the other day. Good jump throw.
Horner played mainly shortstop in college at Stanford. But he's a good enough athlete, Jim. He could probably play third base. I know he can play second base. We've seen him play the outfield occasionally.
Yeah, that was a lot of talk that was ultimately going to be the plan with Nico Horner, a guy who talks so much about versatility.
Spanks one right to third. Holder gloving that line.
Is brought to you by Toyota, official vehicle of the Chicago Cubs. By Wintrust, proud legacy partner of the Chicago Cubs and exclusive home of Cubs checking. By Prevagen, it's the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand. And by Popeyes, Louisiana Kitchen. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Left-hander Sean Doolittle, his spectacled southpaw to face P.J. Higgins. 2 down, nobody on. We are in the bottom of inning number 4, and the Cubs lead the Reds 5-3. Higgins skies one foul off to the right. What's the plan against Doolittle?
Well, he throws a ton of fastballs. The velocity is not quite what it once was, and he was never a guy that just blew you away, despite throwing all those fastballs. But he works through the top of the zone. It's one of those pitches that looks really easy to do something with, but there's a tendency for guys to get under it, pop it up, or swing through it. I would say whenever he comes into the game, the hitting coach is telling his guys, set your sights down, make him get the ball down where you can handle it.
Doolittle has been an accomplished closer. He's been a 2-time All-Star, 111 saves. There's another high fastball. Talking about the Cy Young winners, and in the early days they only picked one man for the entire major leagues. Now here's a good trivia question for you. One city, starting in 1962, for a 5-year run, one city dominated the Cy Young Award. One guy won it 3 times. Do you know who the other 2 guys were? And who was the one guy who won it 3 times?
I would think Koufax.
Sandy Koufax. Koufax was the Major League Cy Young winner in 1963, 65, and 66, and he retired after the 66 season at the age of 30.
So Drysdale in there?
Don Drysdale, good. It's the same city. Drysdale in 1962 won the Cy Young.
How about Dean Chance?
Dean Chance, you got it. That is outstanding, J.D.
Thank you.
Cubs do nothing. We'll be back with more. Cubs lead by a pair.
This episode of Chris and Tell, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Chris Myers welcomes 2-time NBA All-Star and former Bull player Joakim Noah. Find out his retirement plans and more this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Does that mean that Joakim Noah is now just contemplating retirement? He's been in the league all this time. Is that true? I did not know that.
You got me.
Wow, that's a long run.
Alec Mills out to work inning number 5. Cubs with 3 home runs today, if you're just joining us. Eric Sogard and Jake Marisnick back-to-back in the first. David Bodie a 3-run blow in the third. The Reds got a 2-run homer from Kyle Farmer and a run-scoring single from Kyle Holder.
First pitch changeup there from Alec Mills to former Cub Mike Freeman. A little time here. A lot of AAA ball for Mike over the past handful of seasons. He was with Cleveland.
Getting back to the trivia question, J.D., you nailed it. The city of Los Angeles had 5 straight Cy Young Award winners, starting with Don Drysdale of the Dodgers in 62, then Koufax 63, Dean Chance of the old L.A. Angels in 64, and then Koufax again in both 65 and 66. Dean Chance, I'll bet like 1 out of 100,000 baseball fans would have gotten that one. Here's the 1-2. Burr, pop fly. Should be playable. Shallow right. Noah out. Hayward in. Hayward makes the call and the catch, and that's out number 1.
That home run allowed by Mills has not scared him away from throwing that slow curveball. That's what he flipped up there to Freeman this time. And Freeman out in front a little bit. Gets the lazy fly ball. Hayward takes charge. Warner wisely does not take a charge.
One away. Here's Max Schrock. The Cubs are well represented in that Cy Young honor over the years, starting with Fergie Jenkins in 1971. Bruce Sutter, 1979 for the Cubs. How about Rick Sutcliffe, 84, of course. Greg Maddux, 1992.
Looks like Alec Mills' day is coming to an end at 69 pitches.
Alec Mills leaves. A new man comes in. We'll be right back with more Cactus League action. Will return right after this. On the mound now. In this fifth inning, you can see the Cubs lead Cincinnati 5-3 with one away and a man at second.
Veteran right-hander has worked 4 innings this spring and has pitched to a 4.50 ERA. And this, Mills was getting up against his pitch limit, but I think this is also an opportunity for a Winkler-Winker matchup. I think, Rossi, there's just no way you cannot make that happen if you have a chance.
So you like the sound alikes?
You got the Winkler-Winker. It's too epic to avoid. You have to do it.
Too bad there's not a wicker basket around here somewhere. Winkler's pitch to Winker is up and in for a ball. Winkler, though, really did do an excellent job a year ago. A 2.95 ERA over 18 relief appearances for the Cubs. So he figures to play a very important role in that Cubs bullpen this season as well.
Got better as the season went on. He did walk too many. He got away with it. He was able to pitch around a lot of those walks. Wants to throw that cut fastball in on the hands of a left-handed hitter.
He had some Tommy John surgery back in 2014. But when he's been healthy, Winkler has done a good job both with the Atlanta Braves and then last year in his first year with the Cubs.
I pitched very little, 14, 15, 16, and 17 due to injury. Really had to fight his way back.
Shallow left, Bodie backpedaling, making the catch. And that's the second out in the inning. And it brings up Nick Senzel.
those tweener pops up, they're always dangerous, but especially when there's a high sky overhead and, you know, a retreating infielder and a crashing outfielder, they don't want to take their eye off the ball and kind of find their teammates. So it's imperative that there's a lot of vocal communication. Last thing you need in spring training is two guys cracking coconuts out there.
Senzel takes low and away for a ball. Just thinking about one of the most violent collisions I ever saw on a baseball diamond. Cubs were playing Arizona. Mark Bellhorn was playing second base. Sammy Sosa in right. Fred McGriff was the first baseman for the Cubs. This liner caught by Bodie. Will continue this story when we come back. The Reds do not score. The Cubs lead by a pair, and we'll be right back.
This
Three home runs among their 4 hits, lead by a pair as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Sean Doolittle still on the mound for Cincinnati. Rafael Ortega first up, batting for Dan Winkler. Sogard to follow, and then Marisnik. But we were talking about a collision between Mark Bellhorn playing second base and Sammy Sosa in right. It was back in the early part of the century. I want to say around 2002. Fred McGriff was playing first. As I recall, it was a Sunday afternoon, bright and sunny at Wrigley. And Damian Miller, the former Cub, hit a fly ball into shallow right, very shallow. Sosa came flying in, and at that point, Sammy probably weighed about 245, 250 pounds. Bellhorn was a big man, about 6'2", 230. And they're both running at top speed. And, J.D., from our standpoint, as you know, being a broadcaster, you can see these collisions before they happen. And it's an awful feeling. You can't do a darn thing about it. And you know, unless one guy slows down, they're gonna really bang into each other. And that's exactly what they did. And they were like two football players. And the fans at Wrigley, as I recall, let out a gasp the way an NFL audience would when a linebacker nails a receiver on a pass over the middle. It was frightening. And the ball then ticked off one of their gloves. I want to say Sosa might have gotten a glove on it, and the ball just rolled down the right field line into foul territory. Sosa and Bellhorn are flat on their backs. I was worried that one of them, or both, were seriously hurt. It turned out they were okay. They did both have to leave the game eventually. Fred McGriff at first base he was mesmerized by this collision and did not chase the ball right away. And the dugout is frantically yelling at Fred to go chase the ball as Damian Miller blissfully is running around the bases with an inside-the-park home run, which he achieved standing up. And McGriff, after about 3 seconds, on a play like that, it feels like it's about 10 or 15 seconds, but in reality it was probably about three full seconds where a runner is racing around the bases. Seems like an eternity. But by the time he got the ball down the line and threw it in, Miller had an inside-the-park home run on a ball that he hit about 140 feet.
At some point, the crime dog said, somebody needs to go get that ball. And looks like it's going to have to be me. My comrades are out here laid out.
Do a little. Game on the line situation. 8th inning, 9th inning, tie game. You're not thinking about any kind of an injury. You're thinking about helping your team win a very close game.
Yeah. Trying to make a play.
Sogard with a homer and a ground out. Lefty to lefty. This ball's driven towards center, but this one is playable for Senzel. And that's going to be out number 2. Opening day 11 days away. This really is a great time in the sports year. I've always thought you got March Madness. And by the way, congratulations to Loyola today for their win over Illinois. Porter Mosier, the head coach of Loyola, trying to turn a little more magic in the NCAA tournament this year. What a great coach he's turned out.
Yeah, I'll say. Real nice thing going over there.
He's a big Cub fan. He's been in our booth. Great guy, Porter Mosier.
Doolittle's probably pitching with a heavy heart here today. His Virginia Cavaliers got knocked off yesterday. He's a UVA product.
Oh boy.
Now, you went to Lemoyne College. Were they ever a factor in college basketball?
Well, it's a D2 program, and I think there have been times in the Wayback Machine when they were a good Division II team. When I was there, they were not. You know who coached there for a number of years was John Beeline before moving on to West Virginia and then Michigan and then the NBA.
So he started at Lemoyne.
I don't know if it was his very first job, but it was one of his first gigs.
Marisnik fouls this one away. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jake.
How's your bracket looking, Pat? Did you do a bracket?
Did not do a bracket this year. Get kind of wrapped up in baseball, and that seems to occupy most of my sports time this time of year. How about yourself?
Blown up. Yeah, I did one, but I'm like everybody else. I had the Illini going the whole way.
All the way?
Yeah, all the way. And to justify them going all the way, I had to have Gonzaga lose. So I had Virginia beating Gonzaga, which obviously that's not going to happen.
Payoff pitch. Marisnik hits a ground ball to short. Marisnik does get down the line quickly, but Farmer makes the play to get him. A 1-2-3 for Doolittle. And it's on to the 6th inning we go.
We asked